The Plank, presented by Ram, continues on ABC Action News Now.
It's December and the holidays are right around the corner, and just because of that, we're getting in the holiday spirit. So after yesterday's win, we're giving the plank a break and focusing on some positives. So no one's walking the plank this week. Instead, we're going to talk about the play of the game yesterday. And of course, Tom and I have already talked about that third down run with Jameis Winston spinning off of two defenders and getting a 20-yard gain on a 3rd and 19 late in the game that eventually led to that Mike Evans game-winning touchdown. And here's Jameis Winston's thoughts on that big third down play.
Did you realize you were still not hitting the ground?
Yeah, that's why I kept running. I just, like I said, it was a blessing, man. And you see Logan Mankins and Donovan Smith running down the field, just throwing blocks. I cannot go down. I can't go down. And guys just keep blocking, and they push me away.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yep.
And it was pretty surprising. And it just happens to be one of those moments in sports that kind of wows you a little bit.
It does, and you look at some of these signature plays, and Greg Auman said he doesn't have very many of them. I think the ones that come to mind, that big dive against the Cowboys, I believe, or the Giants at late in the game. They lost that game. I think this play definitely one of them. But Jameis Winston has put together some really impressive come-from-behind drives and wins now. And the Bucs at 6-6 in the driver's seat. We haven't really talked much about the playoff position, but now they're one game back of Seattle for that last spot. They own the tiebreaker of the Falcons. Mm-hmm. And going up against the Saints team, who played tough yesterday against the Panthers, you got to like what we see and like this matchup.
Yeah, I just don't think Carolina was they went into that game focused at all.
No, they weren't. They were a little lackadaisical on what they were trying to do, but
they did run up against the Saints team, though, after 3 consecutive losses.
Right.
Knew they needed something, and obviously they didn't get it, which bodes well for the Bucs, because you want to keep the Saints behind you. They got the Bears behind them. They got Atlanta right with them, but they do own that tiebreaker. So, I mean, if you want to be a playoff contender, you don't look who's behind you. You look who's ahead of you, and that's Seattle. And they got to jump Seattle. If they can jump Seattle, they're downtown.
They need some help and keep on winning. What were some of your takeaways from yesterday's win?
Well, my first takeaway is that drive to win. I thought that was important. I think a team of a year ago or 2 years ago might have gone for the field goal or might not have been able to convert anything in that drive at all. I like the way the D closed out the football game. The interception by Levante David, beautiful thing. And then, as I said, in the locker room, I see it in the faces. I hear it in the voices. It is conviction. They definitely are. Their confidence is growing.
Yeah, I agree. And I also, big thing I took away besides Winston's game-winning drive, his leadership is growing. We've seen it from the beginning, and you wouldn't have think a rookie quarterback has had the entire locker room behind him this late in the season. That's impressive. The defense stepped up without Gerald McCoy. William Golston stepped up in a big way, 2 sacks, but he's on the concussion protocol right now. That's something to keep your eye out. We'll hear more on Lovie Smith later on today when he talks to the media. And then the one thing that we haven't really talked about, Tom, is the turnovers. They got to take care of the rock. Doug Martin did have that one fumble. Now, he hasn't fumbled a lot this year, but that's still something the Bucs need to worry about because that turned into points. Jameis Winston's interception that was tipped off the hands of Mike Evans, really not his fault. Evans should have got that ball. But there's still, you got to be careful. This is the time of year where one mistake could cost you a possible playoff spot. And they can't afford to mess with any fumbles, let alone interceptions, especially this late in the season.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, that concerns me a bit is the health of the defense. Gerald McCoy, doubtful for this week, again, after seeing him in that cast, and it just didn't look good.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Golston's concussion protocol. Will he be back? And 3, we got Banks out there on the corner position right now. He looked okay yesterday. Can he do a full 60? We'll see whether or not he can do that. But
we'll see. Big game coming up this week again.
Yeah. Big playoff push continuing next Sunday when the Buccaneers do host the New Orleans Saints. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a ticked-off group right now, letting a win over the Panthers kind of slip right through their fingers yesterday, but that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. And we'll see if they can continue this playoff push next week against the Saints.
All right, that'll do it for this week's edition of The Plank. I'm Tom Corin for John Sable. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll talk to you next Monday here on The Plank.